Welcome to this Monday evening edition of UATV News. I'm Sawyer Bessie.
And I'm Andrew Epperson. Thank you very much for joining our week of election coverage. Before we get to our election coverage, we'll start with breaking news on campus.
The University of Arkansas has just announced a new provost. James Jen Coleman from Northern Arizona University has been appointed provost starting January 1st.
Well, the provost is the second in line of command after the chancellor here at the U of A, and he handles all academic affairs. Coleman says, quote, "I look forward to engaging with all areas of campus and doing a deep dive into the culture to better understand the strengths that have led to the creation of 8 campus priorities."
Coleman received his doctorate from Yale and did his postdoctoral studies at Harvard. Well, tomorrow is November 8th, a date that will go down in history.
Well, this year's election will affect generations to come and could change lives around the world. Our Election 2016 coverage starts right now.
Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people.
But tomorrow, you get to pick our next president. So here are a few things that I hope you'll think about. First, it's not just my name and my opponent's name on the ballot. It's the kind of country we want for our children and grandchildren.
The thing that can stop this corrupt machine is you. The only force strong enough to save our country is us.
But everywhere I go, people are refusing to be defined by fear and division. Someone running for president said we need more love and
Now is Election Day, where we will get to see one of the most historic presidential races come to a close.
That's right, and we're going to send it over to UATV's Caroline Cobb for an update on the race to the White House.
It's the final day of campaigning before voters hit the polls. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are on their final campaign push through battleground states on the last day of the 2016 election. The most recent poll from CNN has Clinton with a 4-point lead, getting 49% of the vote, while Trump sits at 44%. Libertarian candidate Gary Johnson and Green Party candidate Jill Stein combined for 5% of the vote. The race is tight and will depend on voter turnout.
Well, how much have the polls changed in the last couple of weeks?
Well, Hillary has been leading the polls over the last couple of weeks. However, after the FBI reopened the Clinton email investigation, Trump seemed to have boosted some support to make it a tight race.
Right.
Thank you very much, Caroline. Most would think that the former First Lady of Arkansas might have a fairly easy time winning over the state she once served.
That's not the case for Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump holds a commanding lead over Clinton in the Arkansas polls.
He's garnered 59% of the population, while Clinton has received 36%. Libertarian Gary Johnson and Green Party candidate Jill Stein make up 5% of the vote in the state's latest poll.
Arkansas has 6 votes in the Electoral College up for grabs. Polls open at 7:30 tomorrow morning. Well, Election Day is upon us and voting begins tomorrow. As people prepare for Election Day, one thing that sometimes goes unnoticed are the local ballots. Some students feel the language used to describe the issues can be a little more confusing than helpful.
People just probably Google UA Ag Extension Voter Guide 2016. They can find some really helpful information. And of course, it was printed while there were still 7 measures on the ballot. Now we're down to just 4 for which votes will be counted, but it's still really informative. It's nonpartisan. They just put the information out there to try to help everyone make sense of it.
If students have any questions regarding ballots, they can contact Janie Perry from the County Election Commission or the Department of Political Science here on campus.
One of the issues you'll see on the ballot tomorrow is the legalization of medical marijuana. It's a hot topic in Arkansas right now, and there's a measure on the ballot that you can vote for or against the issue. UATV's Taiwan Johnson joins us live with information to help you make the right choice.
With issue 7 no longer on the Arkansas ballot, only one issue remains that pertains to medicinal marijuana, and that is issue 6. Issue 6 is for the legalization of medicinal marijuana in the state of Arkansas, and it also states that marijuana will be deemed legal only for people who get prescriptions from their doctors and are suffering from conditions such as cancer, glaucoma, HIV, AIDS, PTSD, Alzheimer's, and other diseases listed on this list. Issue 6 would allow cities and counties to prohibit dispensaries only if approved. The issue would allow only licensed dispensaries and cultivation facilities to grow marijuana for their patients. Issues in other states include the ease of getting a medicinal license permit. A University of Arkansas psychologist Michael Johnson says that it's up to physicians and doctors to maintain their ethics.
With any medication, I think it's a little tricky, and this is where our physicians are pretty well equipped in this state, I think, to try and tease that out. And I'm thinking most, if not all, are pretty darn responsible individuals.
Johnson also says that citizens and students should go out and vote to help make a change in their communities. Reporting live for UATV, I'm Taiwan Johnson. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Taiwan. If passed, marijuana would be legal for medicinal purposes in Arkansas. But recreational use would still be prohibited under federal law.
Well, tomorrow you'll see two separate medical marijuana issues on the ballot, but one is disqualified. The Medical Cannabis Act, better known as Issue 7, is causing a controversy after being struck from the ballot. The Arkansas Supreme Court removed it after having invalid signatures that did not meet state law for collecting signatures from the public. The group organizing the petition, Arkansas for Compassionate Care, disagrees and says lawmakers assigned to the case all interpreted the law differently. Although the issue was disqualified, it will still be on the ballot tomorrow.
Another issue on the Arkansas ballot is, quote, an amendment to the Arkansas Constitution concerning job creation, job expansion, and economic development. The stated goal of the issue is to encourage economic growth in the state. Our Nathan Smallwood joins us live with more on Issue 3 and the changes that it would cause if it was passed.
If passed, Issue 3 would make several amendments to the Arkansas Constitution. You can look at the graphic on your screen. Among these amendments, we removing the limit on the amount of general obligation bonds that can be issued by the state. Right now, that limit is at 5%. It will also give local governments the ability to obtain and provide money or issue bonds to pay for economic development projects. The issue will also allow local governments to use other taxes to pay off bond debt. It will also allow local governments to sell bonds publicly and privately, and will allow cities, towns, and school districts to enter compacts for economic development and not only industrial development.
I know many people I've talked to, they haven't done a whole lot of research over the issues. They're mainly concerned with the presidential election, and with that, they have neglected to review these things. So it's never too late. Do your research.
Moves inconsistencies in the Arkansas Constitution that make Arkansas at a competitive disadvantage with surrounding states. They also say that removing the limit on bonds will remove some of that competitive disadvantage, while opponents of Issue 3 say that they do not like that there's no limit on the amount of bonds that can be pledged, and they say that this would essentially allow the government to give taxpayer money to privately owned businesses. Opponents also don't like the fact that the name is somewhat misleading and can sway uninformed voters to vote for it. Reporting live for UATV, I'm Nathan Smallwood.
Thanks, Nathan. Jobs for Arkansas have filled the Arkansas Ethics Commission to support Issue 3. Arkansas for Free Enterprise has filed to oppose it.
The Republican Party currently holds all 4 of Arkansas's U.S. House of Representatives seats, and the polls suggest it could take a big upset to change that. Republicans French Hill and Bruce Westerman both lead their races in Arkansas Districts 2 and 4. They both have had seats in the U.S. House for 2 years. 2 other Republicans, Steve Womack and Rick Crawford, are also favored in their races for Districts 1 and 3.
With only a day to go until the election, there are growing fears and a new report about a possible al-Qaeda terror plot in the works. Law enforcement officials are monitoring potential security threats around Election Day. Authorities intercepted conversations among al-Qaeda supporters overseas, one specifically close to home. The chats focused on targeting Texas, New York, and Virginia. U.S. officials stressed that the threat is not specific and could just be idle chatter.
Well, with everyone hitting the polls tomorrow, let's hope the weather cooperates.
Hey, the last thing we want is rain on Election Day, so let's head over to Mary Kate Carson with your Tuesday forecast.
Well, Andrew, I hate to disappoint, but we might be seeing some of that rain tomorrow at the polls. So today it was pretty overcast all day long. It started raining finally at about 5 o'clock, and that rain is probably going to continue on until Election Day tomorrow. So as you prepare to get ready for what the names and the issues that you'll see on the ballot, you'll also need to prepare for what you're going to wear in line. Make sure you bring a rain jacket or an umbrella as you wait outside your polling locations. Now, that's just in the state of Arkansas. Around the nation, we're seeing some pretty beautiful temperatures, even up in Minneapolis, it's around 57 degrees. In Seattle, it'll be about 64 degrees, which is much prettier than what we normally see in this time during November. So hopefully we'll see a much bigger election turnout because of these prettier temperatures. So keep up with UATV News for your Election Day weather updates. Thanks, and back to you guys.
The FBI has made a decision on Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton's emails, what the announcement means for her campaign.
A man leads police on a wild chase. What started it all when UATV returns.
The October surprise that seemingly doomed Hillary Clinton's campaign, now followed by a last-minute November surprise that actually may help it. The FBI just 2 days before the election confirming that Clinton will not face criminal charges related to her private email server.
Seeing Director Comey's latest letter to the Hill, we're glad that this matter is resolved.
Voters in 5 states will decide Tuesday whether marijuana should be legal for recreational use. Marijuana legalization bills are on the ballot in California, Massachusetts, Maine, Arizona, and Nevada. 3 other states, including Arkansas, will decide whether it should be used for medical reasons. Pot is illegal under federal law, but state laws have relaxed over the years. Recreational marijuana is currently legal in 4 states and in the District of Columbia. Election numbers out of Florida show more people there have voted early than turned out for the entire 2000 election. Early voted ended yesterday in the swing state, and the numbers so far show 6.4 million Floridians voted early or absentee. Just 5.9 million total people voted in the disputed 2000 election between George W. Bush and Al Gore. That means more than half of Floridians have already voted. A man who led California on an hour-long traffic pursuit is now in police custody. Police say the chase began Sunday night when officers spotted the man speeding in a stolen Mercedes. The pursuit continued through West Los Angeles, Venice, and Santa Monica. It ended more than an hour later when the suspect ran into a sand barrier. The man was not armed, but a gun belonging to the vehicle's owner was found in the car.
Old Farmington Road, how police found their suspect from a trail of blood.
And an earthquake shakes Fayetteville. Why some didn't feel it. UATV will be right back. A man faces first-degree murder without bond after a stabbing in Fayetteville. Officers found 48-year-old Joe Scarborough dead in the road with multiple stab wounds off Old Farmington Road. Police found a blood trail that led from Scarborough's body to suspect Jeremy Borders, who also had blood on him. Borders was arrested and taken to Washington County Jail.
A run scooter accident leaves 1 dead and another in the hospital. 18-year-old Haley King died and 20-year-old Oscar Gutierrez was injured in a hit-and-run accident off Crossover Road. Both were on the scooter that was hit by another vehicle who then drove away. Police are still looking for that vehicle and suspect.
Things got a little shaky around campus, and you may or may not have felt it. An earthquake shook northwest Arkansas last night. It was a magnitude 5 earthquake, and it struck Cushing, Oklahoma last night at around 8, and that was felt across multiple states. 2 other earthquakes have been felt by Arkansas since September. Well, it seems like that earthquake finally brought us some fall temperatures.
I don't think so, but let's head over to Mary Kate Carson with a look at your weather forecast.
So Andrew, like you said, we definitely did see that earthquake, or kind of feel that earthquake here in Arkansas last night. So if you want to take a look, you can kind of see the radius of this earthquake as it traveled across the state of Oklahoma and into our area of Fayetteville. And so if you saw that, it probably was an interesting experience, as we usually don't see weather like that in our area. But you're right, it did bring us some cooler temperatures. Let's take a look at the temperatures around the nation. Here in Arkansas, we were in the 60s today, which is beautiful, really nice relief from those warmer temperatures. Now across the nation, temperatures are further down, not quite as much as we expect for November, but still cooler than we've been seeing for the last couple of weeks. But we did see some rain, and as you can see from this next map, there was a little bit of rain in our area today in Arkansas, and as I talked about earlier, we're going to be seeing that probably tomorrow for Election Day, but it's going to clear up at around on Wednesday and then throughout the week. Now this is different than the rest of the nation. If we can take a look at the whole national precipitation from today in our next map, we can see that there was a lot of weather. It's kind of like the rain traveled up on through the Midwest and into the east and up into the northern part of the country. Now this is not quite as typical as we see normally this year. On the next map, you can kind of tell that it's a little drier than what we're used to here in our area. See if you can check out this next map. You can tell that it's a little drier than what we're used to, but here in the lower region of Texas and in the upper western part of the country, it's wetter. There's been some more rainfall, and so we'll have to keep watching and see if that's more typical for this year, if we're going to kind of get back on track. And then on our final map, if we can take a look, these are just kind of the forecasts that we're going to see tonight around the nation. It's going to drop a little lower into those cooler temperatures tonight in our area. It's only going to be about the 50s. Keep falling for the rest of the week. We're going to see some really cooler temperatures, probably in the 30s for the rest of the week after we see that rainfall tomorrow. Later on in the newscast, we're going to take another look at your weather so you're prepared for what's going on, and we'll check back soon. Back to you guys.
Well, if you're looking for a place to watch the election results unfold, the University of Housing will host a watch party from 6 to 10 p.m. at Walton Hall's Brown Room. There will be free Chick-fil-A, Domino's, Rick's Bakery, and prize giveaways for all that attend. You'll also be able to compete in other games and contests as the night goes on.
Respect, a multi-award-winning educational program, will host a consent fair tomorrow at the Arkansas Union. They'll be teaching students about sexual assault prevention and the importance of having a clear, fully conscious consent during sexual activity. Groups such as ASG and Greek Affairs will be in attendance, and the event will go from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
2 U of A students have been selected as finalists for the nation's oldest and best-known award for graduate school. Students Danielle Neighbor and Jacob Smith are now one step closer to winning this prestigious honor, as the recipients of the award are elected for 2 years of study at Oxford University. Over 1,500 students apply every year, and 32 are selected for the scholarship. Arkansas Chancellor Joseph Steinmetz says, quote, "Having 2 finalists selected is a real testament to their extraordinary accomplishments and to the tireless mentoring they receive from faculty. We wish them the best in these competitions, but more importantly, in what will certainly be distinguished professional careers." We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll check on your UATV sports report.
Which Razorback football player made waves this Saturday?
Also, which 2 teams are set to go head-to-head in Monday Night Football? Hey, we'll find out next.
Sports, I'm Chelsea Morrow. We've got some great stuff to talk about today, starting with some Razorback football. Let's get started. Well, the Razorback football team was impressive in its 31-10 victory over the Florida Gators Saturday. The Hogs are now bowl eligible and sit at 6-3 this week. They'll take on the LSU Tigers in the Battle of the Boot. The Tigers are coached by interim head coach Ed Orgeron. Razorback head coach Brett Bielema says Orgeron is the perfect man for the job.
He said, "Brett, this is the first job I've been at." I'm not going to try to imitate him, but he said, "It's the first job I've been at where I haven't had an accent." And all he was saying is you fit in great there. And we've already seen that in the recruiting trail. He's a tremendous football mind. I think line coaches in general, he's a D-line guy and I'm a D-line guy. You see things simple, and that's what he's allowing his players to do and play fast.
One of Saturday's biggest plays came at the hands of our own Dewott Mitchell. On the play, Arkansas kicker Lane Saling blasted a kickoff down the field in direction of Florida returner Chris Thompson. Thompson brought the ball out to the 17-yard line before he got whopped. Mitchell jumped to his feet and celebrated with his teammates. The play made waves across the internet and was the talk of the college football world. Staying with the field theme, the Razorback soccer team is now ready to go for the NCAA tournament play. They'll host the Memphis Tigers in Friday in round 1. The Sock Hogs finished as runner-ups in the SEC tournament and had a very successful regular season. Moving to the court now, Razorback big man Moses Kingsley has been named to another preseason award watch list. This time it's the Lute Olson Award for Kingsley. Earlier this offseason, Kingsley was named SEC Preseason Player of the Year, as well as a finalist for the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Award, which is given to the nation's best center. The Hogs' first game is Friday. Well, tonight is Monday night, and we all know what that means. Monday Night Football is here, and this time you'll get a chance to see the Seahawks take on the Buffalo Bills. The Seahawks are 4-2-1 on the season, while the Bills are 4-4. Buffalo is coming off a blowout loss to the Patriots, while Seattle lost to the Saints in its last game. The game will take place in Washington, and kickoff is set for 7:30. Well, that's about all the time we have here for sports. Follow at UATV Sports on Twitter to keep up with what's going on in the sports world. Thanks for tuning in. Coming up, we'll have one last look at your weather.
Welcome back to UATV. We're going to take one more look at your weather for the rest of the week. So as I said earlier, we're going to be seeing some rain tomorrow on Election Day, but no worries. After we elect a new president for the United States, we are also going to be seeing some sunshine around the country, especially here in Arkansas. So it's going to be, oh, excuse me for that graphic. I think this is actually the wrong graphic, but that's okay. We're going to be seeing some weather in the 60s tomorrow. Low is going to be probably down to the 30s. So we might see there's a big gap there. So bring your light jacket to class in case something happens. But the rest of the week is probably going to be the same. It's going to be sunny in the 60s, beautiful fall weather finally, and we're excited to see that. So thanks, guys. Watch tomorrow for more election coverage. Back to y'all.
Well, with one day left until the election, what better way to turn off your brain than with these internet.
The latest internet craze, the mannequin challenge. Yep, it seems the latest internet craze has people freezing where they stand for an extended period of time, mannequin style.
Even celebs are getting in on the action, or in action as it were. Comedian Kevin Hart and his workout squad busted no moves during a gym workout. And even the Pittsburgh Steelers froze it up in the locker room like my voice is freezing up right now. Thank you for joining us. I'm Andrew Epperson.
I'm Sawyer Bussey. Have a great night.